Good afternoon. I'm Ethan Moy. I'm here with Coach B as part of the 7th episode of Coach B Weekly. And Coach B, it is finals week here at Robert Morris University, and today's icebreaker question really is, for me, I'm interested, what was your toughest class at Manhattan?
It's, biology.
Biology.
Yeah, biology. Science was something that I feel like I either, was way behind, or I was, right on path with. I never was ahead of.
Right.
I had to really work hard in biology, and that was something that was very difficult for me.
Yeah.
That at that time I could have handled with a lot more joy. It was very tough for me. I got miserable at times having to try to take those exams. But I didn't go too far with that subject, and
I went
biology
is not really used in college basketball coaching.
Not much. Psychology, yes.
Psychology, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, here. So another successful week for the Colonials. Pair of non-conference victories. We'll start by breaking them down one by one here with the win on Wednesday against Delaware State, a 65-42 decision there at Delaware State. It was the last non-conference road game, and contrary to, or similar to what this win streak, this 4-game win streak has happened. Played really well in the fourth quarter, doubled up your opponent during this 4-game win streak. Every win has featured doubling up the opponent in the fourth quarter. So really, what is the reason for that success in the fourth?
Yeah, I think just our work ethic. I think we've just continued, with a young group here, with some leaders out there, some experience. They've continued to understand, the culture of just continuing to grind and continuing to play hard, whether things are going well or not early on, whether a team comes out hitting early and they hit some tough shots, just staying mentally in it and just continuing to go after it. I think that's been probably one of the biggest reasons for us to continue as the game goes on, to get a little bit better. And I've been proud of that, because that's something we really work on. So you see something that you really try to instill into your program, and then you see it, coming into fruition while the game's going on. That was really good to see, and down the stretch here in this last few, I think that had a lot to do with us being able to pull away late as opposed to, start to fall down. Yeah,
now you mentioned about the young team. One of your senior leaders, Shakima Dashel, actually returned from injury in that game, her first appearance of the season. We've talked before about how, you have the 5 freshmen, 4 being guards, 2 playing the point in Nina and Hanukkah. Shakima's a point, she can play the 2 a little bit, but, how important is it to have her experience back and, to, help those freshmen out and just help the team out in general?
Extremely. Shakima Dashel, a senior this year, has really come a long way in her 4 years, and she's still looking to come further. And that's what makes her special and makes her a great teammate and a great leader, is that she's constantly trying to continue to better herself. And I could say something like that and know that she's going to stay hungry and continue to grind and try to become a better leader and a better player. Seeing her get out there, and go through those early moments, that was a lot of hard work to get back, and then also a lot of experience for her to be able to handle how foreign it kind of felt for her. I could see that first time coming out there, the experience of her, having to come back after a layoff before in the past. And
you can only simulate so much during practice.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. When you get out there at game speed, and when you get out there and you're going against an opponent, and you
on the road,
you don't know, it's an unfamiliar situation. When it comes to the player you're guarding and the player that's guarding you, not like somebody at practice that you kind of have more familiarity with. That's something that in the beginning, those growing steps, even being a senior, there's a little bit of a transition there. And the difference between her this year as a senior as opposed to her as maybe a freshman or a sophomore is that she handled it with a lot more grace. And even with, I had to grab her a little bit aside after that first contest and talk to her about how, you've been here before. You're a senior now, and you know that this is a process. You have to get back and ready and get back going again, and until you get out there, So when she came out the first time, it was a big difference from when she came in the second time, even though it didn't show up much in the stat column. It was a big difference from us coaching perspective of seeing the little things she was doing again, and that she was starting to get into a flow. So, that first time out, a little rusty, and then the second time you could see the growth, and then that catapulted her later in the week.
You say against Lafayette there, she came in at the end of the second quarter, hits a buzzer beater three, had an assist there, 10 minutes of play.
Big steal
to get that, yep. Yeah, so like it kind of, seemed like from game 1 to game 2, you could see the big increases in her play right away.
Absolutely.
Now, speaking of that win against Lafayette, a 63-42 win there, you got 26 points from your bench, and it seems like the bench has been a pretty big proponent to your success this season, getting a lot of production from, Nneka Aziba had 12 against Lafayette. Nina Augustin had 8 in that game. How important or how good does it feel really to, be able to be this deep right now and get that kind of offense production from, your non-starting 5?
Well, remember one thing, we're only deep because you're only deep when you have student athletes coming off the bench that take accountability into coming in the game and giving you great minutes.
Yeah.
And you're only that deep when your starters or the players that are coming off the floor throughout the game, go hard and go 100% and don't pace themselves as far as, jogging through things early so they have energy late. They're going and they're playing with 100% passion throughout. So that's what makes us deep. We don't have a numbers of being deep right now of healthy players.
Right.
But as far as everyone on our roster right now is contributing and always looking to contribute, and even if they don't have the best game as far as shooting the ball wise, coming out and playing with 100% passion with full hearts, that's what's making us deep right now, is that everyone is taking accountability. As I always tell them, in order for us to be great, we all got to be good. Right. And that's right now what they're all doing. They're, even whether they shoot well or not, they're playing hard and they're serving each other. Yeah, that's what's making us deep.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, there's that trust factor there too. Like, your starting 5, they know they're gonna go 100% regardless, but they know they can go 100% because when they're tired and they need a break, someone else can go in there and they're gonna help out just as much.
That's right.
So,
that's right.
You got 2 more games left here in non-conference play. I don't know if you've really read my game notes here, but 2 more victories would set a new school record for out-of-league wins in a season, previously set by the 1986-87 season, or that team, which I wasn't born back then, so that's it's been a while. But anyways, here, would you say that a strong closing stretch this season, victories over? I know you're looking just to Clarion right now, but with Kent State also following Tuesday, would you say that a strong closing stretch, gives you a little bit more confidence heading into NEC play at the end of this month?
Well, you always want to just continue to grow and to feel like each game that you played, you took something positive away from it, whether you won or you lost, where you learned. You got to be able to learn from winning and losing. And I think that's a big misconception. I think everyone's always behind, winning. If you're winning, you got a big crew behind you saying, we're with you, we're with you guys. But it's hard for some people to understand about, when you're coming off of losses or when you don't play so well, how you can go forward with grace. That to me is the biggest thing that I've learned over my years of coaching. And to me, that's what I take from it. Right. That doesn't necessarily mean it's the right way. It's just the way that I have filled my heart with, is that whether we win or we lose, when that non-conference season's over, going into conference play, that we've learned valuable lessons. The moments that we got in that were tight games, we learned from those close games and things that we need to do better, things we did well, things that we've seen the growth on. And then, the ones that we either won big or lost big, what can we take away from those? What learning experiences can we have? Because sometimes, we forget that we learn the most that we've ever learned through failure. So right now, we've been on a nice stretch here as far as winning games, and we've had some, lopsided victories, but that doesn't make us any different of people than who we were yesterday, as far as, needing to still go out there and learn, still go out there and get better. So, one game at a time. We have our next challenge coming up on Saturday. We have to go into this game with dealing with exams, with a lot of focus when we come to practice and we get in the video room. We can't give any less than that. We give even a little bit less, we're going to be wind up scratching our heads after the game saying, what happened? You've got to have the same routine, and you've got to challenge yourself when when things get thrown at you that aren't necessarily in your routine. Like we don't have exams every week. You're right.
I would feel bad for student athletes if that was the
Oh,
case.
it'd be really tough to find the joy in that.
Right.
But I'll tell you, it's something that we have to deal with now. This is part of being a student athlete at the Division I level, is that you're going to have that week of exams, which doesn't mean you just had that week. Last week, we had 3 games.
Yeah, in 6 days.
In 6 days, and that was the week before exams.
Right.
And people don't understand that. They don't understand that, we're not just playing basketball here. We're making it to class every day. If we have to miss a class because of a road game or something like that, we have to, make sure that we're ahead of the schedule, not getting behind, but ahead.
Right.
And it's a lot on them. That's why I was so proud of last week, of how we continue to grind and stay together in those tough moments, because there could be a lot that weighs you down when you have exams coming that next week. And some of the student athletes, especially the younger ones,
that's their first time through it.
This is their first time through, and they are looking at a full slate of exams as opposed to like a senior and stuff like that, where you're in certain classes that you may not have a midterm exam or a final exam. It may be more of a class that you get a little bit more of a leeway with that being towards the stretch of your career. So, as being a student athlete, so that's what I was most proud of. And then this week, with exams now, the lights are now on, and they got to go in there and handle the regimen of going in there and taking these exams. We have to make sure that we're coming to practice every day with a focus at where we are right now, not being at practice physically, but mentally being back in the classroom. And it goes vice versa. When they go to take those exams, they've got to be there 100% mentally, not thinking about something back in the arena that we were going through earlier in that morning of practice. So another challenge for us this week.
Oh, absolutely.
And the only way we're going to continue to get a little bit better is that we stay in our routine and accept the challenges and just sacrifice. I talk to the players a lot about sacrificing. I'm telling them, how this week with having exams and also we have to get prepared, for Saturday. There's a lot of, compartmentalizing your thoughts here. And when you get time to yourself now, that maybe you might have, done something more fun or went shopping or did something that was more social, you might have to sacrifice that healthy time that was healthy all up until this week. You might need now to use that time
for studying.
To study or to get a little bit more rest and stuff like that. So a lot of sacrificing this league, a lot of growing up. Even the freshmen aren't the only ones, sophomores, juniors, seniors. A lot of sacrifice and a lot of using their experience and take those younger players under their wing and show them how it's done. That's what we have to do to take care of business, both in the classroom
and on the court.
Ethan.
Yeah, because I'm going to say, lastly here, Saturday is against Clarion, and you mentioned about how, the schedule was different with finals week here and having to put a lot of focus, even more focus on the academics before playing the game here on Saturday. But also, Clarion is a Division II opponent. You got Kent State on Tuesday. How do you have the team, not really look forward to the final non-conference game, but rather just a Saturday?
Yeah, it's one of those challenges again. You're dealing with the exams, and then you're dealing with that game on Saturday, and you don't want to ever look past the team. It's not just talk. We could come in here and talk about, well, we're not going to look past them. And the student athletes have to come into practice with a passion and a focus and prepare the same way. Just saying we're not going to look past them, no, it's how we are going to be together in our circle, as far as going into video, going into practice, focusing, pushing ourselves hard, working hard in practice every day, working hard mentally in the video room. That's what's going to make us not have that happen. It happens all the time.
I'm going to say, you can say something and say you're going to do something, but if you don't put it into practice, then...
That's right. If you don't put it into practice, if you don't mentally focus like you have been, that have brought you some success, you're going to lose that. The uniform you wear, where you play, how you talk, it doesn't do anything for results about getting the most out of yourself. What it's going to be is sacrificing the mental focus to focus on what you're doing. So that, like I was saying, it happens all over the country. If you look back at every year, you'll see Division II teams go off and knock off Division I opponents.
Absolutely.
You see it from east to west,
Yep.
north to south. I mean, women's side and men's side. But there's too many to name.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that you can't think, well, we're not going to let it happen by just stressing about it and being crazy about it. Just go into your routine, stay in a healthy routine, keep working hard, and just continue to do the things that you were doing while you were remaining humble.
Yeah.
The humility is going to be big. When you go on a win streak, you got to stay humble. You cannot, again, easy to say, but when those moments come, are you really pushing yourself like you did when you were hungry?
Absolutely. Well, again, thank you for joining me today, and good luck on Saturday.
I appreciate it, Ethan. Thank you.
Saturday's game against Clarion is set for a 1 o'clock tip. It can be seen on NEC Front Row.